Hey, everybody. If you are live with me right now, I would love it if you would put something in the chat because I am trying to make sure that this is public and that I can see everything that is being posted in the comments. So I'm going to go back into Facebook for just a second before we get started. Again, if you're on Facebook with me right now, oh, Karen, I see you. Hello, hello. Thank you so much for doing that. I appreciate it. I hope that you're doing well today, Miss Karen. We are going to get started with a little bit of, oh, there's AJ. Hey, girl. We're going to get started with a little bit of a demo. I want to show you what I physically do in this journal. And I kind of make this a morning practice. I want to just kind of give you a little flavor of it before we go into what this is, what it's called, why I made it, why you should care, all of those things. So I have what is an A5 sized journal. And hey, Donna. And you can get any A5 size journal. You actually don't even have to use an A5, but I will tell you that this size is great. It is so convenient and portable. And this has been a lifesaver for me while I've been traveling. So I actually prefer the brand Leichterm 1917, which is a German brand. They make exceptional journals, and this one has the little bitty dots on the pages. They're also all numbered. So when we talk a little bit later about how to do your indexing, that's very handy. But what I want to impress upon you is that our tendency to have the perfect journal or to have the perfect tools, or that, oh my gosh, she's using acrylic paint, I'm out of here. No, I'm going to impress upon you that you can literally get started with a journal and a pencil or a pen. That's all you need to start with. If you want to get crayons, if you don't have any lying around, you can. If you want colored pencils, you can do that. But really, I want to put your mind at ease right out of the gate that what I'm going to be showing you today is a way to tap into your creativity back channels that has absolutely nothing to do with making something that is this fabulous end product that you love. Now, you may love it, you may not. I will tell you this morning, I came in and I started with a background of some yellows and some browns, and then I did some scriggly marks. Then I took some paint from the palette and just kind of mushed it on there. And then I messed up down here. You see where there's like this funny little green thing down here? And it turned out to be, it was hideous. And then I put more white paint on top of it. Then when I pulled the paper off that had the white paint on it, I actually ripped places here. And then I looked at it and I thought, this actually kind of looks like a meadow. And I can make, so this little ripped place here, I'm going to turn into kind of an abstract flower, right? So what I want to just kind of help you see is that this is not precious. This has nothing to do with fine art. This has nothing to do with making sure that it's, presentable to the world and is error free. The only way that I could actually get to this, which I'm now kind of loving, is by not caring about it, by totally letting go. And it is such an antidote to my perfectionistic controlling ways. And it is so important for all of us who are writing, who are visionary leaders, who are entrepreneurs, who are creating anything. It is vital that we can get to this place. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So Becky, hey, she's a Term fan as well. Aren't they great? They're so great. And then also Cindy Thomason is here, a beautiful and brilliant entrepreneur and artist, I may say. So let me start first with, let me come back to my camera here for a second, and let's cross our fingers that this actually works. Because it was, oh, yes, it works. So hello and happy Sunday from London. I hope everybody is having a cozy day today. And let me just introduce myself. My name is Susie DeVille. I'm the founder and CEO of the Innovation and Creativity Institute. And I help entrepreneurs and creators tap into their creativity, home in on who they truly are, and unlock their entrepreneurial potential. And I am also the author of Buoyant, the Entrepreneur's Guide to Becoming Wildly Successful, Creative, and Free. And I wanted to jump on here today and kind of take you through this Buoyant Matrix process, because I have been playing around with this, iterating it, coming up with new prototypes, trying it on with clients, trying it on with myself. And I finally have an iteration of it that really feels like it's right on target. And I made it because I actually needed it. So let me tell you the story of the two Susies. There's Clipboard Susie and there's Explorer Susie. And Clipboard Susie is the version of me who hangs out in her intellect, who is rather controlling, a big fan of perfectionism, and someone who thinks that the initial tendency, we should just go to strategic thinking. Now, there's nothing wrong with strategic thinking and leaning into your intellect, but at the expense of your ability to tap into your intuition, it is not a good thing. And I would hang out in that version of me because it felt safe. It felt like I could avoid judgment. I felt like I could somehow manage the expectations of delivering something to a certain level of quality. And in some cases, that was actually true. But what I discovered when I was in my nuclear winter period, that version of me really was not going to get me out of the messes that I was in. And I had to find something else. And so the raw material that I had been researching and working with clients and actually applying to my own life, which became my book, Buoyant, really taught me that I had to find this place within me that exists, that is alive and well, that has so much more knowledge and so much more ability to tap into what I was missing consistently in my daily life. And that's the part of me that could see what wasn't literally right in front of me, that could actually find solutions and problem solve from places I couldn't even understand where the ideas came from, frankly. But that part of me was really striving. It was my soul tapping on my backbone and tugging on my sleeve to, hey, wake up. There's so much more that you're missing here. And I started to lean into it. And I found this place of flow and ease that took me out of perfectionism, that took me off this gerbil wheel of productivity and sort of beating myself up and trying to push myself harder and believing that I had to have more discipline in order to be successful. All of those things that were actually sucking all of my energy and making me much more confused and stressed out and filled with anxiety and separated from my true self, the part of me that my readers needed, that my clients needed, that I needed. So, as I finished the book and launched it and put it out into the world, and I started taking these notions from everything that I learned during the entire process of writing the book and getting it launched, then creating the Sketchbook Entrepreneur Masterclass, launching that, and seeing what was happening with my clients and the people in the class. And I thought, I need something that is between Buoyant, the book that has all these great exercises to get you started, and the Sketchbook Entrepreneur Masterclass, which is a deep dive into your creativity in ways that are so surprising and fresh. And so what I discovered was that if I could create this system that was the best of both worlds, which was left brain, right brain. And I know the research now shows that the hemispheres aren't that neat and tidy, right? We have creativity that happens all over the brain. We have creative centers all over the brain. But we tend to actually compartmentalize. And I would argue that there's still this tendency to want to sort of be the clipboard version of ourselves. So how could I create something that brought it all together, that was easy, that didn't take a ton of time, that people could fold into their day, that would deliver results, and have this very handy, unexpected, but delicious attribute of being perfect for the person who is on the hunt for that big idea, on the hunt for figuring out what that through line is in their work. What comprises a signature speech? What should be on my homepage on my website? What should the languaging be for my jacket copy? What is it that I really, truly want to articulate to the people who I'm most desperate to reach so that I can help them become the person, the entrepreneur, the creator, the visionary leader that they dream of becoming? So this system is a wonderful repository that is different than the way that we typically tend to capture our notes. We're great, I think, at doing digital notes. Then we can sort of search our way through it. But I find that when I search and use that method of researching and capturing notes, that it's kind of like the clipboard Susie version of me, where it's efficient, but it doesn't have any soul to it. And it's missing something. It's missing something that connects and resonates. So the other part of me, the Explorer Susie, would have piles of Post-it notes and pieces of paper everywhere, file folders. I mean, my office was a hurricane of paper. I had stuff stuck on the walls. And I found that while that provided me access to my creativity back channels, it was completely overwhelming to try to manage, find things, search, keep track. And if I was out at a cafe or on a hike or traveling, I didn't have that with me because it was just everywhere. So I couldn't keep sort of tending to it and adding to it and fueling it. So this process is a way to use your whole brain, tap into your creativity without it being something that freaks you out or gives you this sense of pressure, It's a way to lean into your strategic mind, and it's a way to capture your notes and let this information that you're capturing sort of start to make its own gravy and point out to you it sort of bubbles up to the top, like, pay attention here, or this relates to that, because you're literally flipping through this book every single day and you're seeing this information every single day, and your subconscious is going to town with all of it. So let me read something to you that I read day before yesterday in the New Yorker. And it just kind of took my breath away. And this is written by the gentleman who is Prince Harry's ghostwriter for the book Spare. His name is J.R. Moehringer, I think is how you pronounce it. But he said, if you don't tell your story, you lose it. Or what might be worse, you get lost inside it. Telling is how we cement details, preserve continuity, stay sane. We say ourselves into being every day or else. Now, I don't know anyone who doesn't want to share their story or doesn't want to facilitate a client sharing his or her story, or to be able to communicate through your marketing or through your content in such a way that it truly lands on the very ears that you really want to reach through all of the din and all the noise in the marketplace. So as I have been traveling, I have really gotten clear on being able to articulate my own why for my work. And it's really about what I just read here. It's this notion that being seen and heard sets us free. And it's by tapping into our innate creativity that is the path for doing that. What Prince Harry did was hire this gentleman to tell his story with him, to co-create this story. They worked very closely together. And if you haven't read the piece, I highly recommend looking it up. It's online. It's fabulous. So we need this sense to reach ourselves. And when we reach ourselves and we present ourselves in alignment to the world, what is our true self, we are then just magnetized to reaching the people that we really want to reach. So let me take you through the book now and just kind of give you a brief introduction to how I have done this and lead you into this understanding that there's no one right answer. This is just how I do it. You can take this idea and you can spin it 50,000 different ways. But what I'm going to be doing on June 3rd, I'm going to have a free webinar, which will be an hour. And I'm going to take you sort of into a deep dive on how to do this in sort of in a practical way. Today, I just want to kind of show you what's possible. And then on the webinar, then we'll kind of get the nitty-gritties. You'll have time to get your journal and whatever tools you want. And again, a pencil or a pen is fine to start with. So you'll be ready, and then we can play around with it during the webinar and really get you kind of set up. So regardless of what project that you're working on or what kind of daily practice that you want to begin for yourself, you'll have the very practical how-tos on how to do it. So let me switch my camera back over so that you can see this little booger. Okay, so again, this is an A5 journal. It can be any kind of a journal. And you want to start with setting up some kind of an index. at the front. And we'll talk about this a little bit more in just a minute. But at the beginning, if you don't have one that comes with an index, leave yourself about 5 blank pages at the front of your journal. Being able to actually know where your things are, this is where leveraging of your note taking and all of your sort of interesting ideas, this is how you're going to find everything. And this setup is, by the way, is based upon Ryder Carroll's bullet journaling indexing method. So there is, in my book, Buoyant, I talk about this idea of the 5 M's. To be able to fill yourself with inspiration and a willingness to go bold and make big moves to do the work that you are really passionate about doing. And the 5 M's are a path to doing that. And what I have found is that if you are like me, when I was in my nuclear winter period, it is a little tricky when you're on the emotional gurney to add a whole bunch of new things to your life. So I have simplified it. So again, this is kind of going in the middle ground between some of the things that I cover in the book and some of the things that we work on in the Sketchbook Entrepreneur Masterclass. So this system covers the two of the 5 M's, which is your morning pages. So this is a different kind of a morning page system. What I talk about in Buoyant is the morning pages that Julia Cameron, who is the author of The Artist Way, created, which is 3 pages of longhand journaling every day. You can absolutely still do that. If that is already a part of your practice, keep doing it. But if you're finding that you're having trouble getting started with a journaling practice, this is a way to get sort of jump started, and it only takes a couple of minutes. So on this page, I have the date, and then I start out with sort of what my 3 things are going to be that I really want to accomplish. So this can be my to-dos for the day, but I don't do a whole roster. I just pick the top 3, and then I decide upon what my lead domino is. So if we look at this page, on this day, I wanted to create a lesson plan. I wanted to submit something to IBPA, and I wanted to do some videos. And I knew that my lead domino for the day was to get the videos done. And what I realized as I have been playing around with this, that I have this habit of creating to-do lists that have like 50 things on them. And I routinely do a few of them and then feel sort of not great at the end of the day when I get the few done. So this is a way to feel amazing at the end of the day, because these are the vital things to get done. And I have found that I consistently knock these out because my brain feels like I'm not going to collapse under the weight under it. So 3 things: figure out what your lead domino is, do that first. Then I will identify. So right after I write these, or certainly while I'm actually in the process of writing these, there will be a limiting belief that comes galloping to the fore. And I will identify the one that has me by the tail the most and write it down. So my limiting belief this morning was there's not enough time / I'm so behind. This one plays quite consistently on repeat for me. and it certainly showed up again on this particular day. So I will identify what it is that I'm thinking, and then I will come up with a turnaround for it. So my turnaround was one thing at a time brings me to a state of calm. And what is that? Momentum. I can't read my own writing. This is a way. Now, I mean, as you're looking at this, you may be thinking, this is kind of simplistic. I can tell you it is liberation on steroids. We walk around with limiting beliefs all the time and they erode. This is why the morning pages, the 3 pages of longhand writing is so helpful, because you're surfacing these kinds of things. But I want to surface at least the one that's got us by the tail the most, if we're not doing the 3 full pages. And then I want us to come around with a very specific, concrete way to turn it into something that feels a lot better, that is true. And then the last thing is how I want to feel when I'm actually out in the world creating and doing my work. And on this particular day, I wanted to feel connected to my heart and soul. And here, you may be thinking, well, yeah, sure. But, I can go through periods of time where I am totally connected. Like right now, traveling, I mean, how could you not be connected to your heart and soul? I might be putting more practical kinds of things on my list while I'm traveling. But it's helpful to kind of identify what kind of energetic state that you want. This page, so I start with creating this, and I'll spend 5 to 10 minutes doing this. You can see these are not, Rembrandts, right? I use acrylic paint, but if you'll notice, here's one that I just scribbled. Here's one that's just crayon. Here's just some doodles and a mind map. We'll talk about these kinds of things. Here's a black and white painting. Here's something I call a brain braid. This is a great exercise. I'll talk about that during the webinar. Another mind map. I was trying to figure out color values here, so I did some swatches. So this stuff does not have to be, earth shattering. I'll show you my sad attempt at charcoal. Where is it? Here it is. My little man. Just tons. I mean, it's so not correct, but I cannot tell you how much fun I had doing this. Anyway, so your page can be absolutely anything. You can doodle, you can collage, you can cut stuff out of a magazine. AJ has these fabulous postcards and photographs. She could make photocopies of those and do a really cool collage on one of these pages. Cindy, who does beautiful work, Donna, who does a really cool work, could get in here and do some of the things that they learned in the Sketchbook Entrepreneur Masterclass. Could do a sketch of your hand. You could do absolutely anything. It doesn't matter as long as you're moving your hands and you're playing around. I do recommend kind of changing it up and seeing what you might discover. But even if you're just taking some crayons and doing what I did over here, it's very therapeutic. This requires just a handful of crayons and 5-10 minutes. Here's why this is so powerful. While I'm doing this, Clipboard Susie is taking a nap. Explorer Susie is on fire. And I am connected to my intuition, my imagination, and my problem solving while I am playing around over here. The goal is not to make a journal full of art. The goal is to connect to your creativity back channels. It is calming. If you have bouts of challenges with anxiety, if you have struggles with being able to get clear on what it is that you're thinking, what it is that you're feeling, if you're wanting to get a boost of confidence, this is kind of brilliant in being able to help you access all of that. We believe, because we're taught, we are routinely taught that art is for a special few, that it has to be complicated, that it has to look a certain way, that if you can't do things that look realistic, then it's a world that's not for you. And there's nothing that could be further from the truth. Art does not have to be capital A art. It can be fabulous. You can actually access something that has been eluding you your whole life by engaging in this practice. And what's so interesting to me is that when you combine it with this kind of little one-pager for your day, there's something that takes this, the power of this, and takes it times a factor of 100. I have a new kind of clarity and calm. All kinds of stuff can be coming my way. Some of the craziest things, by the way, have happened to me while I've been traveling. The vast majority of them have been amazing, but there have been some things that have been kind of surprising and weird and required some calm thought. And all of that has been super easy for me to do because I've just been able to keep up with this practice. And I'm able to get further and more clear and deeper into my life's work. So now that we're on that subject, here is how it really becomes fun and powerful when you are doing a project. If you're writing a book, if you're doing research, if you're trying to figure out what's my outline for my speech going to be, or what are the salient points for my website, you can begin to capture all of your notes just like you do in a commonplace book, in any kind of a journal. Just start putting the things down. You can do, so you don't have to do like a daily spread like this. You can do a daily spread, and then you can do a daily spread, and then you can do note taking or capturing research. Or in what I did over here is some mind maps for some marketing ideas, a quote from Maya Angelou, some more thinking about how to more clearly articulate some things. But the key is that, again, I have these pages are already numbered. If your journal doesn't have the pages number them. Then you just simply come in. So on pages 17 to 19, I'm talking about the buoyant matrix. Then 17 to 18. And then on 19, articulating the vision. 20 to 21, there's a webinar outline. 29, there's a brain braid. 31, articulating your message. So today I actually did some work on the buoyant matrix that will now be added. It'll be somewhere in the 40s. That will be added to this series of index numbers. So all of this is captured. I can find everything that I've written in this journal about the buoyant matrix, or everything that I've written about the brain braid in this journal, by flipping to this index. It takes 2 seconds to find it. Here's where it's really cool. As I'm flipping through here, I'm seeing these pages. I'm remembering the videos that I made. I'm thinking about the day that I had this limiting belief. I'm not fixating on it. I'm just kind of touching it. And when I get to the research pages, or to the pages that I'm trying to work something out, then I start to see the dots connecting. then I start to understand, oh, that actually relates to this other thing that I wrote over here. And that relates to this thing that I wrote over here. And now I understand this in a brand new way. This thing that has been driving me crazy, that I haven't been able to wrap my arms around, I'm getting it. I'm understanding it more fully. Now I'm going to go to maybe my laptop and start writing out some things. But it's in here where I start to really fully see the through lines in my brain and in my work and in what it is that I really want to say. And in this sort of daily passionate desire to be fully seen and heard, starting with myself, being able to hear my own thoughts very clearly. So it all works together. And it is so much fun. Let me switch back now to the other camera here. So it is so much fun to have this book, and I tote it everywhere that I go. And what happens is that my brain is always working in the background. Of course, that's true for all of us all the time. But what's fascinating since I've started this process is that I'm cognizant of it, and I'm able to consciously put little seeds into the river of my subconscious and turn them loose and see what blooms, see what sprouts. And it's delightful and it's surprising. And it takes this process of writing a book and this kind of panicky feeling that I'm not going to be able to figure out how to put it all together or have it make sense, or what are my teaching points, or what is it that my audience or the website visitor really has to read in 3 seconds in order to fully understand that I'm the person for them. It takes all of that pressure away, which of course helps us access our brain even more. So it's portable, it's fun, it's deadly to perfectionism, and it's a way to absolutely joyfully do the work that you actually love doing. But the thing that has kind of gotten in our way is the sense of panic and overwhelm. So here comes clarity, here comes confidence, and here comes this ability to discern, oh, it's not that, it's this. And it's all connected in these ways. So I hope that that is helpful for you all. Let me go to the comments here. Who has questions? I'm going to be putting in the link below this replay, the link to register for the Zoom webinar. It's totally free. It's June 3rd at 10 a.m. Eastern. And the only thing that you'll need is a pencil or a pen and a journal of some kind to be able to play around. But any questions on anything before we wrap up today? It's been great to see your faces here. Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much. Happy creating, and have a delicious rest of your day. Take care.